Hey, Flimsy Lunch Tray here, and welcome to World of Warships. And today I'm featuring the Tier 10 Commonwealth light cruiser, the Brisbane. And I have a few clips here just stitched together and showcasing off the ship, and then we're going to crack right into a battle overview, so hopefully around 20 minutes. But to start off, I was talking about some strengths and weaknesses. One of the weaknesses is this is on the map Ocean is our first challenge. And secondly is we didn't, well, the sub just really wasn't moving up to spot for us, so we got into this situation where we're dealing with this Petropavlovsk, and there's no way I'm going to be able to turn out and disengage. So the lesson I want to share here is don't be the first ship detected on your flank. So if your sub is just going to play passive and far back like that, then just stay back further behind them. And that's the thing I don't get about submarines is subs who just sit back and they want other destroyers, cruisers, and battleships to go in front of them. It's a weird thing. I've been seeing it more and more here in World of Warships. Other thing is doing some flanking maneuvers because you have some good concealment, 9.8. As you can see, this map, we've pretty much lost all map control. But we're going to move up towards this island, and you spam a lot of torpedoes. That's something, one of the strengths of Brisbane, and so we're going to get a hit on Slava there. But there's also a Colbert with him, and beyond also having, of course, the high explosive that comes with Brisbane, you also get the armor piercing, which you see us switching to here. So they have no idea that I'm here. I haven't fired while moving up towards this position. So the goal is to completely catch this Colbert off guard because we need the points. We need both Colbert and the Slava to die here if our team's going to have any possible chance here, as the enemy team is over 600 points ahead. But pulling out here and catching him completely off guard with Colbert's Citadel with these 150mm guns means that we're going to make very quick and short work of him. Unfortunately, if I'd been a little faster on draw and that fired that other salvo, probably could have got a double strike here, but it is what it is. Now, and also playing Brisbane, similar to Minotaur, is also trying to utilize these low hanging islands here. So I didn't really just want to push out on your Motto, because since he has the 18-inch guns, as we lose our Vladivostok, because he'll just overmatch me everywhere, and there's no way I can bounce the shells. So I've elected to just utilize the corner of this island here, and I am going to be a little bit mindful here. He's pushed up and maybe he could detect me, but likely not to be able to get the guns off in time. Other things that are really fun to do with Brisbane, which really focuses on the killing destroyers and dealing with submarines element, I would say, since you get the air charge upstrike. With your hydro, and of course having that 12-kilometer radar. Granted, it's not a really long duration as compared to Minotaur, which I think I can get up to 53 second action time on Minotaur with the radar. Then it's a 10-kilometer radar, of course, so not the 12-kilometer you have here in Brisbane, but is fishing enemy ships out. So we've just been patiently waiting here if anything pops up, as I popped an earlier radar, and that's why I knew what ships were there. And using our depth charge airstrike, we see that the other ships have backed off. Now, thinking the gearing is just going to yellow out now, possibly the danger. He kind of has a deer in the headlights moment, and is not really sure what to do, as we're aiming there to hopefully knock out his torpedo tubes there, and we did knock out one of them. And we're going to get the kill there. And we're still being mindful of the ship. So a lot of the times you're playing just around these islands. As here I'm fishing for AA. I want to kind of know this. There's two enemy ships back over there, right? So pinging the maps where I think they are respectively at. But you have these 13.5-kilometer torpedoes, and part of your damage output, I'd say much more than Minotaur, and just overall damage performance, is utilizing your torpedoes as much as possible. Now these are 13.5-kilometer torpedoes, and you get 20 versus the 10-kilometer torpedoes, and then being 16 torps with Minotaur. So oftentimes I'm just spamming them constantly, and I have a pretty good reload time on these torpedoes as well, just over 1:50. And then of course we're going to utilize you see the Mogami pushing out there, and we're going to utilize radar to help our team spot this Michelangelo. We want to be able to spot him, get him reset so he can't flip the cap. So we're playing really a team play oriented ship. You're not, in the games I've had with Brisbane, I think the highest I've had is 175,000, but I'd say I have to look at the my overall performance with the ship. I have 26 battles in it so far, but I think my average is probably around 100k, maybe a little bit more, because I'm focusing more on trying to deal with submarines and destroyers as the Mogami wanders into all those torpedoes, giving us the death strike. So definitely take advantage of the torpedoes as much as possible. And I think the last clip we have here is, this was just as I was getting, I got the 4.AA skill. I'm completely spacing the name of it right now. And I was testing it out. I wanted to see how it did before I did this video. As this was Sunday night. And we're testing it out here on the United States as he's flying into this. And he's going to eat a lot of flak here to get some big damage numbers. And of course, while a CV attacking rocket attack flight is striking you, the planes go invulnerable because wargaming and reasons. So AA is really strong when you do build into it overall, and that's what I'm planning to go for the 4-point and the 2-point skill. Or at least a 4-point skill, which I have now, but let's see about the 2-point skill. But this was before I had picked up that 4-point AA skill, because I'm building up a whole new commander for Brisbane. So I think now I'm at 17, 18 points, something like that. Still more to go. But this video I think has like around 16 or something, as I'm seeing what's happening back behind me. This video is going to be pretty fun. This is the main feature here, after getting past that 6 minutes of footage. And it really highlights just the island play of Brisbane, right? You don't have the option like Minotaur and being able to take that smoke screen or radar. You just get the radar. You still get the access to the specialized repair team, which we are definitely going to be using in this video. So there's going to be some fun stuff coming up here. So for now, we're seeing that there's a sub, and we're kind of track maybe roughly where he is. Now you do get an 8-kilometer air depth charge strike, however you want to call that. So that is actually nice, and compared to I would say Minotaur, because it's ship-based ASW on Minotaur. So you can more deal with subs at a distance. You don't have to be on top of them, right? Because it's kind of suicide, especially when you get decent to really good submarine players who are just constantly shotgunning you all the time. Now, my Fletcher team comrade has gone into the Charlie cap, the sleeping, the I guess is what we call it. I'm sorry, A cap. So he's in a bit of a pickle. I pinged the map, let him know he's there, and we're debating what do we want to do here in this situation. So he has smoked up into the cap, right? But with the daring on Fletcher, the daring is more likely to win that engagement. So I'm like debating at this point, do I want to push into the cap now while the smoke screen is up? Let's go ahead and use Hydro, figure out what's going on here, see if the sub's nearby. And we decide, you know what, let's go ahead and actually utilize the smoke screen and push in here. Now, there's one thing I'll criticize myself here on. I could have waited until I was more into the into the islands before firing, because smoke fire penalty is going to get us spotted by it. Because now I made a gamble here. Okay, the gamble was, one is a sub there. Two, as I think is Musashi, right? So I'm trying to stay kind of angled in as much as possible here, because now I'm going to have to turn in to avoid these torpedoes. And knowing that Musashi is probably looking at us as we get the kill there, we see it coming. So we're going to preemptively heal, and yeah, he got two Citadels on this, as I'm seeing all these torpedoes coming in behind, as we also DCP that so we don't take that strike. But it's paid off. We've gained access into the cap, as now we have to watch Moskva, but thankfully he only has high explosive, and I don't actually think he has the shell ballistics to get over that gap, since it's a rather flat shell arcs. That's what I want to say. But we're gonna have this issue of this submarine back behind us, of course. It's gonna be a big issue for us. Now we did spam torpedoes. One was for the Shimakaze in mind. Two is in case the sub just decided to surface. There's, really no other reason to hang on to the torps. So that's why I launched them all like that, hoping maybe we get the kill here. Now, granted here, what's helped us out is, one is we've kept the Fletcher alive, so you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. So he is able to go for that submarine. But we're dropping air depth charge strikes on him, And who's going to get the kill? Yeah, the incomparable is going to get the kill on the U-2501 as we lose our trump to the enemy Minotaur, which actually I think he has a pretty good game. Now, when you're in the island, playing island play with Brisbane, especially here on Sleeping Giant in this map as we have all control of all caps, is you have to be mindful of these lower gaps where the island, comes down, like where I'm shooting at with this Conqueror, right? Because if we're not mindful, we might be detected by someone maybe between B and C. It could be Moskva utilizes his radar, and then either having Musashi or the Conqueror could be ready for a salvo and utilize it on us. So we do have to be mindful of that the whole time. Just because we're in this island doesn't mean we're necessarily safe. So having good map awareness and knowing what ships are around is rather helpful here. But with having, there's the radar. So now we're gonna have to watch what's happening here. But with having high explosive, again, part of your DPM output beyond the torpedoes comes from having high explosive shells. And so we're always looking at opportunities to set fires. As I'm looking over my back for Conqueror, if he decides to let out a salvo, which he has. Granted, we're reversing now, so yeah, it's still a good little hit there. And we're going to reverse here because there's also torpedoes coming from that enemy Shimakaze. I'm still looking. I'm not really too worried about getting more shots off right now, as I really want to focus on Conqueror if he gets any more salvos out. But yeah, like I was saying, with high explosive, without taking any combat signals or demolition expert or whatever it's called, that increases your fire chance. Your fire chance is 9%. You have a base reload of 5 seconds, and we've built into that, so we have even faster reload in addition to having adrenaline rush. So it looks like we're just under 4 seconds at this point in time, as I'm trying to sneak some AP shells in over the island on this Jean Bar. So you do definitely want to make use of both the AP and high explosive, as I switch between them a lot actually, because of just the decent salvos you can get. So I'm going to see if we can set more fires here on the Conqueror there further off in the background. Now he's about to leave our main battery firing range, which is 15.8. I prefer running the main battery reload modification in slot 6 versus getting more range, because these shells do have a long travel time. They're the same shell velocity as Minotaur. And honestly, playing beyond farther out this 15.8 kilometer window doesn't make, I would say, a lot of sense. Where you want to be playing around your key objective areas a lot. What I found somewhat similar to Minotaur, but I would say probably more so for Brisbane, it's focusing on eliminating the enemy destroyers or submarines on your flank, or just in the game in general, and then you become the destroyer player, right? So, though Minotaur, I think she has 9 kilometer conceal, 9.1, something like that. It's hard to keep track of everything. You have 9.8 here on Brisbane, but you get those longer range torpedoes. So I've often been in a lot of games where I'm having to kite and I'm just spamming torpedoes constantly. And that works out quite well to the advantage, as now I'm popping in information radar, seeing what the enemy battleship is up to here. And also that Shimakaze is chill for right now. And you have decent shell arcs. It's not flat shell arcs, right? It's higher shell arcs, which means you can more easily get over the islands, which honestly, that's really what you want to be able to have here on Brisbane and like Minotaur. So you can play the island play really well. Otherwise, it can be much more of a pain. There's an enemy Minotaur with a fancy camouflage, and Ohio blaps him proper, eliminating that threat. And now we have the issue where the Shimikazes are rushing our sub player, so I'm trying to help the Bilal player here, but as Shima gets closer to the island, it's harder to lob these shells over the island here. So we still have control, we're still in the lead. Most of the enemy team is just to the south of us here. So again, we're just utilizing the island coverage for the time being, but we're likely to probably use incomparable here in just a moment. Other things that you make mention about this ship, probably just high acoustic range search. 5 kilometers for ships, and it should be 3.5 kilometers for torpedoes, if I'm not mistaken. So good to have all around. And let's see if there's something from the WoW's wiki also that I should make mention of. Yeah, so like Minotaur, she has the built-in enhanced propulsion that you'd take in slot 4 on cruisers, but it's already baked in, so then I just take steering gears in slot 4. You have among the best AA here in World of Warships, so that's why I would recommend building it to AA. You have a good fire rate, you have that specialized repair team, so you can take massive hits like you saw from the enemy Musashi. Low damage shells, long shell flight time, and weak armor. So nothing too crazy different in comparison to Minotaur there, besides a few minor differences. And communicating with our Ohio player, I'm letting him know that my radar is about to come off of cooldown. Here it is. Fletcher looks like he's about to possibly leave. No, he still was dropping smoke. So we will be able to help our Ohio player. It's on 3-on-3. So we want to stack the cards in our favor, and really it's more Ohio that's caught out here in the open. Now, of course, if there's a lot of more enemy battleships back in behind, down on the 3-4 line, like let's say where the Colombo is, I had to be mindful of that engagement because Colombo could loft a salvo in here, but we had that higher part of the island in the way, so that worked out well for us. The light cruiser life in World of Warships is one where you have to have good map awareness, otherwise you will suffer. Now, on Minotaur, I actually play radar build Minotaur. I don't like playing smoke Minotaur. I have much better games with radar build Minotaur. So I'm not too foreign of a different gameplay style in taking on Brisbane since she doesn't have any smoke. So would I recommend Brisbane? Yeah, I would. Now, if you're not sure, what I would say is play Minotaur. And then check out playing Radar Minotaur, see how you fare there. If you hate Radar Minotaur playstyle, and you just don't feel like you're able to get a lot done in the game, then I would pretty much encourage and tell you that Brisbane's most likely not going to be for you if you don't like playing Radar build Minotaur. Doesn't mean that this ship's bad or whatnot. It's just that if you're not used to it in this light cruiser experience that has very thinly armored, you will suffer a lot, and you may find it difficult to make big plays. So that's what I would say. But if you like Minotaur, then definitely I would say Brisbane's worth picking up. Even if you prefer the smoke Minotaur play, then yeah, you can still see, right? You can still test out. Maybe Brisbane would still be okay, but then you're probably looking more at clan mates or div mates that can smoke you up. Then I would see Brisbane probably be more great to play and work out if you utilize that with your teammates and clan mates. One of the things you do have to keep in mind, of course, is enemy ships have spotter planes, because if we weren't paying attention there, we could easily got one-shotted by the Colombo, regardless if he had armor piercing or sap, but he's been mostly firing sap, as it does quite well there. So we were waiting there. If he was going to push in, we were simply just going to dump torpedoes like we have here, and they're looking really, really good here. But we'll have to see what the Ohio has to say about our engagement here. So he's eaten 3 torpedoes, and so he's dead. But I think Ohio beats us to it just in the nick of time. So a bit unfortunate, but a good game overall. Yeah, this was my highest damage game in Brisbane. So I just realized that of the 15, 16 different replays I was going through for this video today. So 175,000 damage, 822,000 credits. We get 231 shell hits, 4 torpedo hits, 2 destroyed. And 8 set on fires. Most games I can have anywhere from 1 to 5 torpedoes hits. Not an insane amount. As I was kind of referencing, my overall, we'll go to it on the last slide, DPM. I think my average damage maybe is around 110k, something like that. But top of the team with almost 2,500 base XP, our high on Stalingrad were playing really well. And we took 40,000 damage, 52,000 from fires, 41,000 from flooding, and 79,000 from the main battery between the armor piercing and high explosive, and 20,000 spotting damage. Now, since Brisbane is a premium ship and she's tier 10 with premium count, we're going to make 714,000 credits all said and done, and doing well with our earning commander XP. Now, let's go ahead and look at the 26 battles summary that I've played with Brisbane so far. So I thought maybe I was on 100k average damage. I had a couple really low ones just because I died early, like you saw in that Oceans battle. So 80,000, so not 100k like I was thinking or hoping for. I think there's more I can get out of this ship in terms of the DPM performance. I think, you know, she does play similar to Minotaur, but there's just a few slight differences in terms of getting the most out of her, and that's really using her torpedoes as much as possible. So 62% win rate at 26 battles with average, or most ships destroyed is 4. And then a destruction ratio of 3.27. Now on Minotaur, I think it's like over 6 or something like that for myself. But yeah, just to give you an idea here. So all said and done, I hope you liked today's video in going over Brisbane. I will do an upgrade commander build video on Brisbane tomorrow, and giving you my thoughts and impressions on the build that I feel quite comfortable recommending. So if you liked today's video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're already subscribed, thanks so much. I appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.